Vance Belter, the suspect in the horrific Minnesota shootings, had a notebook with a list of dozens of potential targets, including elected officials, people who've shown support for abortion rights, and others, according to authorities. Democratic Minnesota Congresswoman Kelly Morrison was on that list, and she joins me now. Congresswoman, I was struck that there is an intersection here of your two careers. One, of course, is a lawmaker, but you were a practicing OBGYN for more than 20 years, and the suspect allegedly had on his list organizations, for example, Planned Parenthood, that he believes are pro-abortion. That's how his neighbor or his roommate describes it. It feels a little trite, but how are you feeling right now? And I don't know if you had a chance to listen to the press conference and the breadth of the planning that went into this.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me on, Chris. You know, we are grieving here in Minnesota. We lost, I lost a friend and a colleague and a mentor. She was really the best of us. Melissa Hortman was a unique figure in our state. I think she'll go down as the most consequential Speaker of the House in Minnesota history. She was often the smartest person in the room, but you never knew it because she was so humble and understated. She was a masterful legislator and negotiator. She was a coalition builder. She had the best sense of humor. She was hilarious. She was a good friend and a mentor to so many. It is just a tremendous loss to lose her and her husband, Mark. And we are very relieved that Senator John Hoffman and his wife, Yvette, are recovering now. But it's a huge relief, of course, that this assassin has been caught. It took an unbelievable law enforcement effort. They worked for 43 straight hours to bring this man in, and it was a coordinated effort between local, state, and federal law enforcement. I'm endlessly grateful to all of them for their efforts. You know, I spent the weekend holed up in my basement with law enforcement outside my home. And I say that only because I want people to know that this is a watershed moment in the history of our country. We have to, with one voice, condemn political violence. We have to say that this is not the kind of country that we want to live in. And I know that most Americans feel that way. So both sides of the aisle need to call out political violence. I was really proud of the Minnesota delegation. We have 4 Democrats and 4 Republicans in the House. And of course, our 2 senators. Together, we put out a statement condemning political violence. But yes, I spent my career as an OBGYN. And of course, there's a long history of violent rhetoric against people who provide reproductive health care. So I've been on lists before. I'm not afraid of these cowards, but I think it's important to remember that this is not just an attack on legislators. This is an attack on the American people because it will interfere with people's ability to be well represented. And I'm afraid that it will have a chilling effect on who will want to run for office, Chris, because we want to encourage the best good people to be our elected leaders. And so this is a moment that we all need to come together collectively on both sides of the aisle and call out calls for political violence and say with one voice that this is not okay.
Last hour, I spoke with Sidney Jordan, also a Minnesota state representative, who I'm sure you know. She talked about what it's like. Not the first time that she's faced threats, not the first time that she's been stalked. Melissa's gone. Mark is gone. A community has been terrorized. And so one of the things I thought about when you think about a daughter having to be shielded by her dad so that she's not killed, do you just keep going on with your job? Do you blame people if they say, I can't do this anymore? This is a horrific example, but by far not the only one. We've listed one after the other in just the last couple of months of political violence. They clearly said in the news conference today, this is political assassination. So how do you say to the best and the brightest, this is something you should do?
You know, Chris, I am absolutely devastated. It's hard to put into words how traumatic this has been for our community and our state, and I think for our country. But I will tell you that I am more determined than ever to work to make our country a better place, a safe place for everyone, where everyone has the opportunity to be healthy and to thrive. And I know there are a lot of good and patriotic people out there who want to participate in our representative democracy as well. And I would encourage people who are interested in running for office to please still do so. And I am happy to speak with any of them. We have got to, this is what our representative democracy is about, and we have to go forward. I think about Melissa right now. She was such a calm and steady leader. She would lead us in exactly that way right now. She would want us to go on, and she would do it in a calm and strong way. And so I hope that we honor her legacy by doing that.
Congresswoman Kelly Morrison, you just have, and I hope everyone within the sound of this broadcast listens carefully. Thank you so much for being on the program. It's much appreciated. And I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you so much, Chris.